Let's talk about running watches. There are so many different ones to choose from, lots of different features to pick, and most importantly, lots of different price points. So we are going to round up our best picks of running watches for 2025. And very excitingly, today we are joined by Mark, who for the last few years has been working really hard on website articles behind the scenes for the running channel. But as a self-confessed tech geek, we thought it was about time we got him out in front of the camera to share his views.
Yeah, so cool to be here and sitting at this table. The first thing I need to say though is something that's really important, and as always on these roundup videos, no brand has paid to be here. These are watches that we have chosen ourselves, and these are our opinions. The team have been out there, they've been wearing watches on every runs that we've been doing, and they've told us their opinions, so what the things they like, the things they don't like, and we are here to share those opinions with you.
Yes, so today we've got 4 categories: best entry level or budget, best all-rounder, best lifestyle, and best premium or outdoor watch. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're gonna be starting off with our top picks for best budget or entry level. We've got 2 great watches here, the Decathlon GPS 900, which is powered by COROS, and then we've also got Garmin's 165. But should we firstly talk about why have we picked these watches, who are they for?
Yeah, exactly. So these could be for runners who are just getting started. And if that's you, these are absolutely going to get you started on your running journey. They're going to have everything that you might want in order to start your runs and actually learn a bit more about sort of your progression as you're running.
Yeah, they're also super lightweight. So if you are someone that only wants to put on a running watch for the run itself, you don't want to feel like it's clunky, you might want to wear other watches in your day-to-day life, these are great options to help you do pace, distance. So you even got a little bit of navigation in there, not full mapping, but it does have breadcrumb, which is a really nice way of working out which features do you actually care about on your watch. And then you can maybe think about leveling up in the future, or this might give you everything that you need. Should we start off talking about the COROS watch specifically?
Yep, so this is the Decathlon watch, which is powered by COROS. So all of the great back end of this watch, all the software is all COROS, and they are really well known for the quality of the data that they give you. Now, you don't need to go into all that data if that's something that is maybe a bit overwhelming for you, but it's all there for that point in your running journey when you are more sort of into learning a bit more about the stats behind your runs.
Definitely. It's also really cool that this watch connects with the COROS app, so you get an insight into all of that different data as well in a really lovely app setting. Also allows you to change things like the watch face, and one feature that I love is the battery life on this watch. You are absolutely not scrimping on it. You've got up to 35 hours in GPS mode, but you can extend that up to 80 hours if you want, and then also you've got 30 days of battery life too, just in watch mode. Great to not to have to charge it every single day.
Yeah, exactly. Another great thing, it can record some health metrics. So if you wear this overnight, it's going to track your sleep. I know a lot of people are really interested in being able to do that on their watch. So to have that in a budget level watch is brilliant.
Essentially a really nice way to get a bit more holistic with your running and to get some great running metrics. But now let's talk about the Garmin.
I think the first thing you can't help but notice with this watch is the screen. So it's an AMOLED screen and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's also touchscreen, so you can flick through with your hands as well as using the buttons.
Yeah, this does have an impact on battery life because it's powering such an incredible screen, but it does make it feel so premium. So battery wise, you've got kind of 11 to 20 days depending on what settings you have the watch in terms of just day-to-day use. And then in GPS, so within an activity, you've got 17 to 19 hours, again, depending on how you've got the watch set up.
Yeah, and that's really good. That is great battery life. Some of the other great benefits of this is it's going to track your sleep, it's going to track HRV, it can do VO2 max, it's going to give you race predictions. So if you're wearing this all the time, it's going to see your workouts and it's going to tell you a bit more data about you in general.
One thing that I love, and we've actually got a video in a previous watch from Garmin that also had this feature, is the daily workout suggestions. So every single time you go for a run, you can have it set up where when you press run, it will give you a suggestion of what workout to do based off of lots of the other data that it's collecting from you all throughout the day and when you sleep. Really great if you are looking to level up your training and you're not quite sure what sessions you should be doing in order to improve. So those are our 2 picks for best budget entry level, but there can only be one winner, and the watch that we have chosen is based off the fact that these are both a very similar price point, but for the screen and the amount of data and metrics that are in the watch, it had to be the Garmin 165.
Yeah, such a good watch. That screen is amazing. Love it. Right, we are into the all-rounders now. Now, these watches can do pretty much everything you want, but each brand is going to do something a little bit different. So these sit between the basic and the premium in terms of both price and the features that you can offer. So that is during activities, but then also in other life metrics that it can record. Now this is a really popular category and we've got some great watches here.
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you had looked at the previous watches in the kind of budget roundup, what these do is they take all of the metrics that are in those watches and they provide additional data points by analysing that data using training load, for example. So the watches that we've chosen, we've got the Polar Vantage M3, Garmin's Forerunner 265, the Suunto Race S, and COROS Pace 3 and Pace Pro. That was quite a mouthful. Let's start off by looking at Polar.
So first thing, the colorway on this one, they call this greyish sand, which is a brand new colorway for me with watches. One of the great features though that the team have loved in this watch is the coaching and the training. So this is really intuitive. So the more you wear this, the more it's going to understand the sort of things that you like to do. And it can kind of teach you and train you as you're going along.
Yeah, and it's really cool. It's powered through FitSpark and this gives you suggestions on running, mobility and strength. So actually really cool to be able to go into your watch in the morning if you do want to work out and for it to suggest what you should do on that day, whether that be an easy run, intervals, a strength session, and it gives you lots of different options too, so it's not only giving you one suggestion but a menu of options to choose from, which I quite like.
Yeah, and if you're someone that likes to do lots of different sports, this has over 150 different activities that you can take part in and you can record, which is brilliant.
Yeah, it feels really premium too. The screen quality is absolutely amazing and the mapping is also really nice.
This is some of the best mapping in this category. So you've got real full topographical maps, so you can follow it really nicely. And when you're back at home again afterwards, the sleep tracking is also really good.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about Garmin's Forerunner 265. Now we could have included the 965 within the all-rounder category, but down to the price point, we made the decision to include the 265. But don't worry, if you're here to learn about the 965, that is coming later, so stay tuned.
Yeah, so the Forerunner 265, I think we've just done the 165, so we'll talk about the difference, I suppose, between the budget and all-rounders. So some of the main things is that it's going to analyse your workouts a little bit better. So this has got training readiness.
Yeah, it's got training readiness, training status, training load, all analysing kind of how much you're doing, the workouts you're doing, but also the more kind of holistic metrics like sleep data, your heart rate variability, HRV status, all of that is feeding into stats like training load. It also has performance condition, which is, if you are familiar with the Garmin setup, when you're in a run, within the first 6 to 20 minutes of a run, it'll pop up and let you know how you are on that run on that day, because we've all had sessions that just feel absolutely rubbish, and that will quite often align with your performance condition of being either plus or minus numbers depending on how you're feeling.
Yeah, I actually turn mine off because I don't want to look at it and be like, -3, oh no.
Yeah, on race day, maybe not so helpful, but in training it can be really useful.
Yeah, I think some of the other great features about this is it does all your sleep tracking, so HRV, sleep, all that good stuff that we want. Battery life is also really good on this one.
Yeah, and the screen is incredible, which will always affect the battery life. You'll see in the more kind of ultra tailored watches, they won't have an AMOLED screen, but if you really like the look of an AMOLED screen, then you get that in this watch at a really reasonable price point.
The one thing I would like on this watch would be better mapping. So you're still only having breadcrumb trails in this watch like you've got in the 165. So again, if you're a runner that likes to run on trails, then maybe look at the 965 instead of the 265.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Suunto Race S lineup of watches. Now you've got a few different options here, and what you choose will affect the price of the watch. So there's a steel version or titanium version.
Yeah, so the one we've got here is the titanium version, and it feels really good. This is a watch that it's got a bit more substance to it, it's got a little bit more weight to it, but I quite like that. The bezel is really nice, and it's got this real nice haptic feel into it, so it's got this buzz to it, the vibration as you move the bezel, which is great.
Yeah, definitely something to consider when you are choosing a watch. What setup do you want? Do you like buttons? Do you want a bezel? Do you want it to have touchscreen? Think about how you're going to use it, and if you can get into a store and have a bit of a play, that would really help.
Yeah, so I learned recently that I prefer buttons. I'm a buttons watch guy. For me, the bezel, I wear gloves a lot in the winter and it doesn't work quite so well. So for me, yeah, I want buttons on my watch.
Nice. Now let's talk about battery life. So the Suunto, you can get it to up to 120 hours in a GPS activity mode, which is incredible if you want to take on an ultramarathon, for example. Also, the kind of general battery life will last up to around 13 days, depending on the settings that you have set up.
Yeah, and one of the great features about this watch is mapping. So it comes with free maps already downloaded on there, and they're topographical as well, so really good quality.
Last up in this category, we've got two offerings from COROS, the Pace 3 and the Pace Pro. Both fantastic watches. The Pace Pro does offer slightly more, but they're both really well priced, so we wanted to include both within this category.
Yeah, and the great thing about COROS, which a lot of runners really like, is the amount of data that you get from it. And when you use the app alongside the watches, you can learn a lot from your runs.
Definitely. You might recognise the Pace 3 because it has been on the wrist of a lot of incredible athletes. Kipchoge, Ingebrigtsen. It is a very lightweight, kind of very sporty feeling watch. It has an LCD screen, so not quite AMOLED compared to the Pace Pro, which is such a nice looking watch. But if you do want something that is lightweight, very sporty in look and feel, then the Pace 3 is a great option.
The reason we have these two together is that back end, that software end is essentially the same, but what you're getting with the Pace Pro is that better screen, you're getting a better battery life, you're getting a bit more memory, it's a bit faster, so it works a bit better for kind of as you're on the run. Mapping
as well is improved. So in the Pace 3, you've got breadcrumb navigation, but then you have got full offline mapping within the Pace Pro, which is really nice and something to consider what features you do want. If you're never going to use mapping, then it's worth saving a bit of money and going for the Pace 3. But if you depend on navigation, then you might want to level up. Yeah, the mapping is really good on the Pace Pro. It's great. So those are our top picks for best all-rounder, but now we must come on to the winner, and we've chosen this watch based off of the amount of metrics and data you get for the price, and that is the COROS Pace 3. Yeah, it's a great watch, but if you're happy to spend a little bit extra, then the Pace Pro is also brilliant. That screen is just really nice, and just that extra battery life you get is a really good step up. Okay, now we're into lifestyle, and we're going to address an age-old debate. A lot of the watches that we featured in this roundup look like sports watches or running watches, and there is the classic debate of, would you wear your running watch to a wedding? Personally, I'm a yes. I want the step count, but let me know in the comments, would you wear your watch to a wedding? Yes or no? I'm so excited for the debate on this one. So we've got two very lifestyle-looking watches. We've got the Apple Watch Series 10 and the Google Pixel Watch 3. The Apple Watch Series 10, there's a few different versions. So there's a cellular version, there's a titanium version, and there are different sizes. Depending on the one that you want, will depend on the price that you're going to pay for it. Yeah, definitely. The biggest update with the Series 10 is the size. It's a lot thinner than previous versions. And essentially, this watch is perfect if you want that smartphone feeling on your wrist. Yeah, it is like running with your phone on your wrist, and the screen is just as good as your phone screen. Yeah, definitely. It has so many different features, and actually when it comes to running, it's really cool too. One thing to get used to is the fact that you might have to start or end an activity using touchscreen. So if you are someone who runs a lot in gloves or would struggle with that, then that is something to consider. But if a smartwatch is just as important to you as a running watch, then this contains so much within it. Yeah, and some of the functions in it are really good. So the GPS is excellent. The heart rate monitor is also really good. One thing that we need to warn you about though is the battery life. So much like your phone that you're going to charge it every night, if you're going to wear this all the time, you kind of need to charge your watch every night as well. Jess in the office, she tested it and she was running a marathon and the watch actually ran out in the middle of her marathon because she hadn't got used to that sort of cadence of charging the watch every night. It's something to consider, but if you are plugging your phone in every day, then it's quite easy to then get into the habit of doing a watch as well. If you are used to running watches where you can go 2 weeks, 3 weeks without charging it, then it will take a bit of getting used to. Okay, so we've shown you the Apple Watch. Now we also wanted to show a lifestyle watch for Android users, and that is why we've picked Google Pixel Watch 3. Yeah, so I think like the Apple Watch, this is very much a smartwatch first and a sports watch second. So this is the watch that you can wear all the time and you can get all your messages on it, or your emails, all of that stuff. But then also, if you then want to go out for a run, you've got a watch that is more than capable of tracking everything that you want during that run. Yeah, they've also pulled in some quite cool running data. So you've got readiness in order to tell you, are you ready to go and do a hard workout or should you keep it easy? They've also got a morning brief, which will give you updates on lots of different holistic data to show you your kind of readiness to train, which are some really nice features to give you a bit more depth and insight into how your training's going. The one thing to consider though is that this is definitely a lifestyle watch first. So it's not going to give you quite the same running functionality as a dedicated running watch in terms of the usability, having a dedicated lap button, or the setup of the watch for running. But if you want a watch that can handle all of your apps, notifications, settings throughout the day, and you can also take it out for a run, then it's a really great option.
Yeah, the data in the back end is not going to be as good as a Garmin or a COROS. So if that's not something that you're bothered about, then it's absolutely fine for you.
Now, we're not actually going to pick a winner for this category because what you choose is very much going to be based on the phone operating system that you have, Apple user versus Android user. Now, I personally have an iPhone, you have an Android, maybe that gives you our answers, but let us know down in the comments below, which watch are you choosing?
It's the final category now, and it's a big one with some big watches. These are premium and adventure watches. Now, we've combined them together, but what we've got here are the watches that are really at the top end in terms of the features that they have. They're also watches that are going to be ideal if you're on more adventure runs or ultra marathons, so they have much more battery life and more features like that. They're also watches which are perhaps a little bit more rugged. So if you prefer a larger watch that has that rugged casing on it, some of these might work for you. Or just if you have a bit more of a budget to spend on running watches, then maybe this is a category that's going to work for you.
Yeah, these definitely all come with a massive price tag, and the watches that we've picked are the Apple Watch Ultra 2, the COROS Vertix 2S, Garmin's Fenix 8, Garmin's Forerunner 965, the Suunto Vertical Solar, and Polar's Grit X2 Pro. Got there, that was a mouthful.
The Apple Watch Ultra 2. So it's got the name Ultra in the title, but does that mean it's good for ultra marathons?
Oh, good question. So with the battery life, kind of depending on what you want to do. So you can get up to 17 hours within a low power activity mode. So potentially up to 100K if you're quick, maybe 100 miles if you're fancying breaking a few world records. But really what this watch is great for is having a phone on your wrist with much more sport mode capabilities than the Series 10 that we mentioned earlier. So you've got a customizable action button on the side if you want to quickly start a workout. You've still got the dial as well and an additional button too. So a lot more user-friendly for within running workouts.
Yeah, and it's bigger and it's more rugged as well. You just look at the difference between it. There's much more substance to this watch. I think the screen is something that we should definitely talk about because I think it's best in class in terms of all the watches that we are seeing. This looks like an iPhone on your wrist and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really, really lovely looking watch. So if you are someone that really cares about the smartwatch features, but wants a watch that is easy to use for running, it does have some great running data as well, training load, lots of different metrics, as well as being able to create workouts. And we've got to talk about the offline maps because in terms of navigation, if you're going for a short trail run, it is absolutely great. The only thing to consider is the battery life.
Yeah, and just in terms of what it records, heart rate is really good, GPS is really good. So some of the most important features of an actual running watch, it does them brilliantly. And next is a watch which is completely different. This is the epitome of rugged when we're talking about rugged adventure watches. This is the COROS Vertix 2S.
Yeah, so whilst all of the watches in this lineup will be quite similar in terms of price point, there's a big varying difference in premium versus adventure. So with the COROS, you do have sacrifices in terms of the quality of the screen. It is LCD, it's not AMOLED or OLED like the Apple Watch. Instead, what you've got is an enhanced battery life. So this watch can last for up to 36 days. Within an activity in GPS mode, it can also last for over 100 hours. So it is prepped for every single adventure or activity that you want to take on. Another feature I love is that you can change the strap and attach a carabiner attachment as well. So if you are a climber and you don't want to have the watch on your wrist whilst you're climbing, it does that too.
Yeah, and you can track like 100 different activities on this, 100 different adventures. This watch really is built for your adventures.
And it still has all of the features in terms of running metrics that we mentioned in the Pace Pro and the Pace 3 earlier in this video, but you also get those more kind of extreme adventure data points, alerts and metrics too, some of which include nutrition alerts, great for during an ultramarathon when you need to remember how to fuel, sun movement alerts, and even a storm alert too. So perfect for any single adventure that you want to take on.
The Suunto Vertical. This comes in a few different versions. There's a steel one, which you can have with solar or without, or the titanium, which comes with solar.
Yeah, which is a really interesting point when it comes to battery life. So if you are out going a run in or getting different adventures in, then the solar will help charge the battery. So not only is the battery life really good in this watch anyway, but if you do have one of the solar versions, then that is going to add more and more time onto the battery life too.
Yeah, which is really important, particularly if you're out on longer runs and adventure runs. Another thing which is important for those runs is mapping. So the mapping on this is really nice. It's very easy to add it on. It's topographical. It's really easy to follow. So that's a really important feature.
Yeah, it has loads of good running metrics as well as lots of those kind of adventure metrics as well in terms of sunrise, sunset, storm alerts as well. One thing to note on this watch though, which is a shame, is that you can't store music within the watch. So you can use it to control your music on your phone, but you do have to have your phone in order to play music. Now we're moving on to Garmin, and we've chosen two to cover in this section, the 965 and the Fenix 8. So Mark usually wears the 965, I usually use the Fenix 8. These are very similar watches in terms of features, but one is definitely more kind of adventure watch and one's smartwatch. But with the price points both being quite premium, we wanted to include both.
Garmin Forerunner 965, really enjoyed wearing this watch. For me, the first thing that stands out is the screen. So really nice screen, really clear to wear in all conditions. So whether it's sunny, whether it's dark, I can read this screen all the time.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really great all-rounder watch. It does come with quite a high price point, but that is just because how much data there is within this watch. You've got daily suggested workouts, training load, training readiness, race predictor, performance condition, a lot of the features that were in the 265 as well. But with this, you also get full mapping. And on that screen, it looks so beautiful. But then coming on to the Fenix 8, this is essentially a more rugged watch which offers a few different features that once you've tried you might not be able to live without. So one is a torch. You've got a white torch or a red torch, great for kind of visibility whilst you're out on the run. Also great if you can't see where to put your door key in. Personally, that's what I use it for a lot. You've also got a speaker within the Fenix 8 as well, so you can make and receive calls using your watch, which is a really nice hands-free feature to be able to use too. So it kind of depends what look and feel you want from your watch, but there are two great options from Garmin there.
The usability of them is the same, and they're the sort of watches that you can wear all the time. I don't take mine off, so I wear it overnight, and I get that data in the morning. I get my morning report, and it tells me everything that I want to know about my sleep from the night before, and then helping me towards my training readiness for that day.
Yeah, I'd say the best features from Garmin as well is the 5-button setup. It is so intuitive to use, and being able to have that dedicated button to lap within an interval session, for example, really makes a difference on your run.
We've talked about maps a lot in this, and I run a lot on the trails. I want really good mapping, and the screen on this and the quality of the maps on both of these watches is really superb.
Also being able to zoom in, pan across, decide what data you want as well as the map on display on your watch is really nice to find a customizable map that works for you.
The one thing I did learn about it is that I need to turn touch screen off. So I've been out running in the rain or running with long sleeves on, and it can sort of flick and move the map around, which becomes a little bit annoying to try and recenter where you are. But turn that off and absolutely no issues.
The last watch in this category is Polar's Grit X2, a really lovely rugged looking watch, but with the screen quality that really bumps up not only the price, but also the quality and feel of the watch too.
It's military grade, so this is a hardcore watch, but it also has all the elegant features that you want from a running watch. So it's going to measure everything that you might need, and even a bunch of things you don't realize you did need until you need them.
Yeah, definitely. It's got the similar 5-button setup to the Garmin watches that we mentioned earlier. The screen really is something to talk about. It just looks so beautiful, but also the outside bezel has a really nice compass detail on it. So if you are interested in a watch that not only has a relatively good battery life, can last for a while, but also you want something that looks rugged, but also looks quite pretty, then this is a really lovely option.
It comes preloaded with maps and they're topographical.
It's worth thinking about the ecosystem that you're working within as well. We're trying to mention watches from all different brands because it might be that you have entered the kind of running watch world with a cheaper version and you want to upgrade and stick within the same ecosystem that you're used to. So all of these will come with accompanying apps to kind of get your head around too. So these are kind of the level up versions, and it might be worth considering leveling up from what you're already used to, or you might want to jump into a whole new operating system. Completely up to you. Right, now best pick for premium adventure watches is a hard choice. So we've copped out and we've chosen two. The first choice that we have is the Apple Watch Ultra 2. The screen quality, the amount of features in this watch, and just how beautiful it looks, it had to be one of our picks.
But if you care more about battery life and that's something that's really important to you, then let's give you the Garmin Fenix 8. Great watch. We've made it to the end. There's only two things left to do, and they are two final awards. That is the Running Channel Community Favorite Watch and the Running Channel Team's Favorite Watch. So should we do the community one first?
Yeah, let's start with your favorite. So we asked on Instagram, what watch are you using, or what is your favorite running watch? It was so interesting reading through all of the answers, and there were two top favorites. So the winner overall was Garmin's Forerunner 965, but that was very closely followed by the COROS Pace Pro.
Yeah, both great watches. I've been wearing them one on each wrist for the last month, and yeah, they're both worthy winners.
Yeah, definitely. And what about our pick?
So the Running Channel team's favorite watch is something that has everything that you need to go for any run that you're going to do. It's at a great price point, has a wonderful screen, really easy to use, and our favorite watch is the Garmin Forerunner 165.
Yeah, such a great watch and packed full of so much data too. But I want to know, which watch are you picking out of this lineup, or what other reviews would you like to see us do? And now if you want to go and pick what daily trainer you want to wear, go and check out this video right here.